Hello everyone, it's Connal Finlay here, the owner and director of the Cellar store down in New Zealand, and welcome to today's episode of the Cellar TV. So, we're trying one of my favourite wineries. If you've seen any of the other videos of the New York Wine channel, New York Wine playlist on this channel in particular, you will have heard all about this fantastic winery. Really, I continue to be screaming at the top of my lungs just how brilliant these guys are. So this is the Channing Daughters winery, and this is their Pinot Grigio. There's a little close-up video shot for you. And it's absolutely lovely. So it's 100% Pinot Grigio, which of course is what the Italians call Pinot Gris. Either way, it doesn't really matter all that much. It is the same grape varietal. And this is the 2015 vintage. Absolutely lovely. So if you do like your classic sort of Pinot Grigio, then this is 100% for you. It is, I have to say though, where quite a lot of normal Pinot Grigios that you'll find, especially sort of those big large names like Santa Margherita and all the rest, they do tend to be a little bit dull, a little bit plain, not necessarily very complex. So this, on the other hand, is one of the most complex and interesting Pinot Grigios I've ever tried. It's absolutely lovely on the nose. It's got so much going on, and we'll get to that in a moment. And it's very, very textural and very smooth and creamy as well on the palate, which is very exciting. Whereas I do find that a lot of Pinot Grigios are, well, they tend to be a little bit sort of zingy, a little bit of acid there, but nothing really textural or exciting on the palate. This, on the other hand, as I say, is quite the other story. So Channing Daughters, for those that aren't aware, are sort of right in the middle of the Hamptons area in Long Island, of course. So Long Island, of course, is part of New York State, and Long Island is the second most important wine region as far as New York State is concerned. The most important, of course, is being Finger Lakes. If you're wanting to learn a little bit more about the Finger Lakes region, then we do have a whole Understanding New York Wine video that's about 20 minutes long or so, but it's highly, highly recommended. There is lots of information in there about not just the different regions and producers, but also the state as a whole and all the different sort of wines that are producing there, as well as a whole bunch of other tasting videos, of course, about Finger Lakes wines. Anyway, back to this one. As I said, this is the Pinot Grigio 2015 vintage. It is not the 2016, yep, 2015 vintage of their Pinot Grigio Channing Daughters, all from the South Fork of Long Island. All right, let's give it a sniff. So it is classic Pinot Grigio to begin with. It does have those sort of citrusy, a little bit of lemon in there, quite a bit of sort of white pear, but I have to say it's probably more sort of golden or baked pear in many, many respects. It is very, very ripe here, the fruit. And the more it opens up, it's sort of that sort of baked apple, that apple pie sort of aromatic there. Nothing too, I have to say, it's nothing too sort of pastry or sort of buttery and all the rest. It's not like a big Chardonnay or anything. It's not had an excessive amount of oak. In fact, I think it says on here it's only about 33% oak, but it's all neutral oak, so it's all old oak, so not brand new oak or anything else like this. Most of it is stainless steel, so 64% of it was in stainless steel barrels, which means that it is, of course, keeping its beautiful fruit-forward aspects. And I say, as it's opening up, it's warming up a little bit there. You are getting these beautiful sort of white and yellow stone fruit flavors. So for me in particular, there's a whole bunch of sort of white peach, white nectarine, and also there's a slight nutty aspect that comes through. And this is going to be from the time that it's spent with its lees, the wine that is spent with its lees. And lees, for those that don't know, we'll just quickly run over it. Lees are the yeast cells that have been used in the fermentation. But of course, once the fermentation is finished, once the wine is fully made, the lees will sit there in contact with the wine for a short period of time, particularly with white wines and Chardonnay in particular, and then the lees will just continue they'll break down, and then they'll add a little bit of the nutty and those sort of shortbready and all those interesting sort of aromatics to white wines. Of course, it is most important in sort of Méthode Traditionnelle and Champagne sparkling wines. But of course, in Chardonnays and other sort of wines, like this one, it does impart these beautiful little, as I say, these nutty sort of aromatics. For me, there's a slight water chestnut and these toasted almond sort of flavors as well. So it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. As I say, on the nose as a whole, There's a little bit of white fruit, a little bit of sort of yellow fruit here, but very fleshy, very rich, very exciting, and very, very warm sort of fruit. Ripe fruit, that is. All right, let's give it a taste. So it is dry, but I wouldn't be surprised if you did think it was a little bit sweet or a touch off dry. It's not, it is bone dry, but there is a whole lot of fruit sweetness here because it is, as I said, very, very ripe fruit. It went into the making of this wine. It's a very, very concentrated and rich sort of flavors, and you do get that sort of that sweetness of the apple coming through, and those pears and those baked pears. And then especially now on the finish there, you are getting a lot more of those sort of toasty notes, a little bit of those sort of toasted almonds. There's this slight sort of vanilla smoke aspect there to it. A slightly macadamia toffee sort of aspect, very, very slightly, very, very slightly. But those beautiful sort of nutty aromatics that really meld in together with those apples and those pears, that white nectarine, the little bit of that lemon pith comes through. And of course, most importantly, this is really, really rich and creamy on the texture. On the palate there, it's just sort of sliding around, bouncing around. And as far as that sort of palate goes, sort of the texture, to give you an idea of what it tastes like, or feels like on the palate rather, it is like a creamy Chardonnay. So if you can take that, extract what you know about creamy Chardonnays, those big buttery sort of Chardonnays, it is akin to that on the palate with a little bit more acidity there. So a little bit more of that classic Pinot Grigio sort of acidity running through it. But of course slightly different aromatics. This is much more white fruit and a little bit more nutty. So absolutely lovely. Anyway, so this has been the Channing Daughters from Long Island, their Pinot Grigio 2015 vintage. Utterly delicious, and I highly recommend you getting at least a couple of bottles of this. All the information is below, so do check out the link. Go straight to the our website and straight to this product page, so you can buy a couple for yourself. This is absolutely perfect drinking for now, but I guarantee that it will continue drinking well for at least another couple of years. But in that time, of course, we're going to have other vintages of this coming in. We're always constantly getting in new orders from these guys. Absolutely love them. So please do like away, comment away, let us know if you've got any other sort of Pinot Grigios that you're absolutely loving at the moment, or if you've tried any other wines from Channing Daughters or from Long Island for that matter. And of course, if you have enjoyed the videos, we'll highly, highly appreciate if you subscribe to our channel, because we are constantly uploading a whole bunch of new sort of tasting videos, discussion videos, and etc. And of course, please do share it away with all your other sort of wine-loving friends and family. I've been Connal Finlay. This has been the Cellar TV. Cheers.